Hi students, how are you? I hope you are safe at the home. Today again I am going to start one more chapter about understanding law. Already you have learned previously in this political chapter, especially 3 chapters in this political. What did you learn? Yes, we have learned the Indian Constitution, and you learn second chapter understanding secularism, and you have learned third chapter why do we need a parliament. Okay, very good student. Again today also you are going to learn one more chapter, that is understanding law. Very good. Listen carefully student. What is a law? Why it is important for our citizens? It is necessary to everyone who are living in India. Lord, these all things you may learn, student. Be focused and listen carefully. Students, in this introduction part, listen carefully about law. Law which will be made by the parliament. In the parliament, Rajya Sabha members were there as well as Lok Sabha members also will be there. One bill become a law. They will keep one bill in the parliament. First of all, here Lok Sabha will give the bill. That bill will be accepted by the Lok Sabha, then it will pass to the Rajya Sabha. Even Rajya Sabha also will be accept, then it will go near the president. Then president will give permission. At the time that bill become a law, student. Very good. Listen carefully. You learn from this chapter, especially about judiciary. Already I have explained previously about legislature and executive, but in this chapter we are focusing about judiciary system. Okay students, see here, rule of law, supremes of law, rule of law and supreme of law. Okay, listen about law, some brief important points, especially you are seeing. One is federalism, separation of powers, parliamentary form of government, fundamental rights. These all things you have learned previously. Let we will see brief information about this one in this section. If you understand these things, then you may learn about understanding law chapter very well. Okay students, be concentration, be attend and listen. What is federalism or federalism? Listen carefully. In this system you may observe, under the federal system a country is formed of the union of several states which has a certain degrees of independence in conducting their own affairs. You may know, under the federalism, according to the federalism system, you know every court which is formed by the government or which is sanctioned by the government, that government must have to give full powers to the judiciary. So the court may get full powers. So that's why here you may observe, under the federal system A country is formed of the union of several states which has a certain degrees of independence in conducting their own affairs. That government must have to implement and take decision in a separate and division like states and union territories. For doing these all things, the government has powers. In the parliament, they may sanction different laws for the states and union territories. Our government may do. That is, you may observe, it is coming under the legislature. So here these three are most important: legislature, executive, and judiciary. See, when one law will be sanctioned by the legislature, executive must have to implement that one. It is perfectly implemented or not, then judiciary will may inquire and do and give decision also. Student, according to federalism. However, the overall responsibility of governing the country lies with the central government or union government. How much independence that the state have varies from the country to country. Here, union government means we know in our India national government is there. That one we may say parliamentary. We have democratic government. Here in our parliament, our national government will may take decisions and implement the whole things. You may know on the federalism. Then separation of powers you observe here. The Indian state has three organs. Already I said no. What organs did our Indian government has? Has very good. Legislature, executive, and judiciary. Listen carefully. The legislature, for example, we take parliament. The parliament may form different laws, but executive, here you may know, for example, ministers, they may implement the laws. And next heading you may observe judiciary, a court interprets laws. The executive is answerable to the legislature, which consists of the elected representatives. The judiciary is independence of the legislative and the legislature and can be questioned their action, including the pass of laws. Here, these three are which one has depending upon every. Next, see students here, main important points you are going to learn in this chapter. One is role of the judiciary. Is judiciary independent of the other institutions? Structure of the courts in India, working of the courts, branches of legal system, who can go the courts, public interest, legislate, tells words, Bombay Municipal Corporation 1985. These all main important headlines, students. Then each one we will see with more explanation. Now see first one, role of the judiciary. Here especially you are seeing dispute resolution and judicial review, and upholding the law and enforce the fundamental rights. We will see about this one properly. Okay, listen carefully. Dispute resolution. It settles the disputes between the people between the government, state governments, and between the state and the central. You may know, student. And judicial review also let you listen carefully about judiciary review. Okay, we have a unfound or integrate judiciary. This means the courts are connected from the lowest to highest level. Lowest to highest level. A student, you know, this all the important role of the judiciary. Here court which is implementing laws very well as ministers also doing their work according to the executive. They may appoint some IAS IPS officers. They are responsible to the legislature. Okay, students, we will see in this chapter important points. What did I say? Okay, listen carefully about that. All things you have to keep in your mind and learn very well. And listen, students, carefully. We speak of the judiciary. We mean the judges are the courts taken collectivity. You may have watched films in which judges pronounce the verdict, decisions of guilty or not guilty, and send a person to person or set him free. Well, the judiciary performs many other functions besides the punishment wrongdoers and protecting the innocent from being wrongfully punishment. So that's why you may observe is settles disputes between people and the government, between state and government, and between the state and central. And as well as you know, it upholds the rights of the citizens, those who are there, what they have some rights and everything. So this all will be upheld by the judiciary. You may know, student. So that's why you have to remember this all things. It interprets the constitution and has to power to decline a law null and void, strike down a law if the law violates the principle of the constitution. So they will take action, student. That's why the judiciary has the power of strike down only those laws that violated the constitution. It can neither strike down other laws nor change them. In June 2011, an NGO called Mental Health Foundation filed a PIL. See end of chapter in the Delhi High Court, asked the court to strike down the law that make attempting to commit suicide a crime. So if anyone will not follow according the law, it is a crime. So that's why they will be punishable by the court. They have to bear according the laws. So that's why the executive and the legislature which are most depending upon this implementation of the law and following everything according that very well. For example, it cannot make a law even if it feels that there is a need for such a law. The source of law in our country are the constitution, the laws made by the union and state legislature, case law, point of law established by the judgment in previous cases, and customary laws, local customs that are not against the law of the country. Okay, students, here main important to laws. How is that? Okay, you have learned. Now see here. Okay, undesired and independent body. Yes, the main two feature of our judiciary systems are two. One is a unified or integrated judiciary and independence of the judiciary. One is a unfair of integrated judiciary. Second one, independence of the judiciary. Listen carefully. Unfair judiciary. First one. Okay. We have a unfair or integrated judiciary. This means the court are connected from the lowest to the highest level. If you will not get a good judgment in low courts, then you can appeal to district level court. Even district level court also you may not get good judgment, you can appeal to high court. Even if you will not get a good judgment in high court also, you can appeal to the Supreme Court. The last Supreme Court is a supreme body of our nation. Okay, finally the Supreme Court what will give the judgment, that judgment must have to be obey and follow our Indian citizens. Okay, students, are you understanding? Yes, I hope you have understand. Next, see here, independent judiciary. An independent judiciary that functions without interference from the executive or legislature is essential to ensure that everyone is equal before the law and has equal access to the constitutional remedies. Those who are living in our India, everyone must have to follow according our Indian constitution. What are the things which are the mentioned in our Indian constitution? Everyone must have to obey and follow. If anyone will against this all things, they have to bear punishment. They have to get that all punishable things. Okay, students, you have to recall about independent judiciary and unified integrated judiciary. Okay, you will see next heading about structure of the Indian courts. Now you are watching one image about structure, the levels of the court. The first downside you see lower courts or district courts or family courts, etc. You may see in lower level. In this local level courts, if you will not get the good judgment, you can appeal to the high courts. Okay, in our India, approximately 25 high courts are there. Even that every high court, if not get judgment, you can appeal to the Supreme Court. You can appeal to the Supreme Court. Okay, previously in 1985, you know some case, according to the case study in your book, you have to read that one. You may understand about Lakshman Kumar case. How did they get judgment? How did they faced? How did they appeal to other courts? Then you may know. Here, especially if you want to get good judgment, you have to possible for getting. Okay, students, you have learned today especially role of the judiciary. Is judiciary independent of the other institutions? Next, third, structure of the courts in India, working of the courts. I hope you have learned this all things. Okay, next coming class also you will learn remaining part. I hope you must have to Okay, learn properly, read textbook also. Okay, what homework I am giving, you do, which is read textbook, which words are there very difficult. You have to search in dictionary, write word meanings also. Okay students, for you I am giving here one small video, watch and learn about more information about judiciary.
What is the judiciary? Democracies are characterized by the separation of functions and powers between the three branches of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The three branches check each other's powers. The judiciary interprets and enforces the law, including the Constitution, and ensures that the other two branches comply with it. In this way, the judiciary checks the exercise of power of the legislature and the executive. The judiciary is composed of various courts across the country, staffed by judges and magistrates. The courts decide disputes and apply the Constitution in the name of the state. Chapter 8 of our Constitution defines the structure of the South African judicial system. At the top of the system is the Constitutional Court. Below it is the Supreme Court of Appeal and the various high courts in the provinces. These courts together form the High Court and are staffed by judges. Below the High Court, you find magistrates' courts staffed by magistrates. The Constitution also allows for the creation of specialized courts like the Labour Court and the Equality Court. In a democracy, these courts must be independent and subject only to the authority of the Constitution and the law. It must be independent so that it can make impartial decisions and not be swayed by political or personal considerations. You can think of the courts as doing a similar job to the referee of a soccer match. A referee has to enforce the rules to ensure that the game is fair and the players do not break the rules. The judiciary is tasked with ensuring equal justice under the law. Chapter 2 of the Constitution guarantees every person the right to have a dispute or trial heard by a fair, impartial, and independent court. It is the system's duty to make sure that the laws of South Africa are complied with by everyone, including the legislature and the executive. While these other two branches of our government are made up of politicians who work along the lines set out by their particular party, the judiciary has to be impartial and non-political. In other words, they must make decisions based on the facts and the law relating to a particular case. As we explained, the judiciary checks the exercise of power by the legislature and the executive. For example, when the national or one of the provincial legislatures passes a law, a high court can declare the law or parts of it unconstitutional and invalid. If this is confirmed by the Constitutional Court, the law has no force and effect as if it was never passed. The courts can similarly declare invalid the actions of the national or provincial executive. Because judges and magistrates must be independent and impartial, it is very important that they are appointed in a different manner than members of parliament or cabinet ministers. In South Africa, the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, a body established by the Constitution, plays an important role in the appointment of judges. It further advises the country's national government on any matters relating to the judiciary and the administration of justice. The JSC includes the Chief Justice, the President of the Supreme Court of Appeal, and the Minister of Justice, as well as 2 practicing advocates and attorneys, 1 teacher of law, 6 members of the National Assembly, 4 members of the National Council of Provinces, and 4 more persons appointed by the President. The JSC decides who is appointed as a High Court judge. They also nominate candidates for appointment to the Constitutional Court. The President then picks one of the nominees and appoints him or her. The appointment of magistrates falls under a separate entity called the Magistrates Commission. The President appoints the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice, who head the Constitutional Court, as well as the President and the Deputy President of the Supreme Court of Appeal. The President must first consult the JSC before appointing these leaders of the judiciary. So what is the judiciary? The judiciary is composed of various courts within a democratic state. Furthermore, it is the body of judges and magistrates who sit in the courts of South Africa. The judiciary does not introduce or pass any laws, but it is meant to interpret the law and apply the Constitution. It is the duty of the judiciary to apply the law fairly and without fear, favor, or prejudice to disputes brought before it. It also enforces the Constitution and declares invalid any laws passed by the legislature or action taken by the executive that is in conflict with the Constitution. To fulfill its role, the judiciary must be strictly independent and impartial. Judges cannot promote the interests of a political party or individual. Furthermore, no person or organ of the state may interfere with the functioning of the courts. The decisions of judges and magistrates are subject only to the Constitution and the laws of South Africa.